Good to see you all. I'm Chip Meehan, and I'm starting the Studio City Neighborhood Council Board meeting on Wednesday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. It is 7:30 p.m. So, Adele, you want to call the roll?
Sure. Jen Bladen. Here. Kim Clements. Absent. Dean Cutler is not on the board.
Yes.
He is. Dean Cutler. Absent. Dimitri Gastions.
Here.
Ainsley Gaiman. Here. Jeff Hardwick.
Here.
Chip Meehan.
Here.
Richard Niederberg.
Here.
Lori Rittenberg. Here. Drew Shaw.
Here.
Adele Slaughter.
What?
Here.
Quit asking me stuff.
You have a board.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Lorenzo, we have a quorum. We're done, right? Okay. It's all good. Perfect.
Yay.
Okay, thanks so much. I really appreciate everyone coming. As you know, it's been an eventful series of weeks. I just want to run through two quick announcements before we get to the body of the work. One announcement is a holdover from the esteemed emeritus Scott Mandel from his last term. I just want to have a reminder to those attending these meetings that during public comment, you may hear colorful language that some might find offensive. The Scnc has no ability to control or regulate the content of speech that is protected under the First Amendment. Board members are reminded not to cut off, interrupt, or otherwise engage with stakeholders during their allotted time. Stakeholders, please respect the timekeeper when you're alerted your time is up. And secondly, as we came back, and as I've been figuring out what would happen as president, I've met with the Radford facilities people. As you know, it's been 18 years that the Neighborhood Council has had a free office.
20.
20? This just in 20 years, thank you, Barry, that we've had a free office here. And it's remarkable to find out in talking to some of the other neighborhood councils, they spend 40 to 60% of their budget annually just on office space. So if you consider that we're not spending half of our money just keeping the lights on, we are effectively twice as effective because we can take our whole budget and go into the community. It's important. There have been some small concerns as we bump into their staff and other tenants on the lot. So I just ask that you please remember that we're guests here. It's important we remain courteous and respectful to all the Radford staff and to the vendors we may encounter during our time on the lot. We should also ensure that we do not interfere with the work other tenants on the lot are undertaking while we are visiting. So we should not interfere with the important work being done on the top, for example. So just stay away from the production people. Dean Cutler, come on in. That's good to see you. Adele?
Got it? Yay.
Thank you. So this is the reformatted board. There is one board member still coming, Kim Clements, who is going to be here any moment. She had a work delay. But we will be at 10. Is that right, Lorenzo, at full strength?
11.
11. So we have 4 board members open, which is 1 homeowner, 1 independent contractor, and 1 business?
3 business.
3 business. So we have a total of 5. 1 residential homeowner, 1 independent contractor, and 3 business owners. So the difference is that homeowner, you're paying a mortgage. Independent contractor, you're a consultant that works with a 1099, and a business owner is an entity that maintains an LA City tax license. So we have those 5 seats available. We are asking for the community to forward their interest to me or Adele Slaughter. Our emails are on the website, and I believe both of them work. And those positions will hopefully be filled in next month's meeting in November. I think we have that. So interested stakeholders should reach out, and on the agenda are our 2 emails. Adele, do you have the secretary's report from last month?
this is my report.
Bated breath.
What is your, tell me,
Terrence?
Terrence? Has two
Sets of minutes.
sets of minutes
Ready
to
now to
give,
send.
that are ready to be sent out, but we couldn't send them to anybody.
Okay.
And he'll have the third set of minutes ready. And that's all I have.
Okay. Terrence, the emails, I show them up, running, and active.
Okay.
So hopefully tomorrow, as I was into the admin page, which is a place I should not be allowed to go, but I have access now. So everyone seems to have their email up and running. Dean, yours went in today. Okay. Jeff, do you have a corresponding secretaries meeting for last August?
No, I don't have anything to report except if I could get Lorenzo's help with, there's a Google Share Drive, but we have all of our records for the neighborhood council. I don't have access to that, so that would have to be somehow reactivated. I could talk to Scott offline about maybe getting permission to engage with that, but I don't have access to that anymore. So I'll need access to do the things that I do, so.
We'll have to talk to Rob at Web Corner about that. We had occasion to speak with Rob about getting that. First, it was just contacts, and then it was other emails. That may have to be reconstructed from public documents, like all the CIS and stuff.
Yeah,
We may have to get to that a different way than your email.
okay.
Barry.
I just want to thank Jeff for getting out all the CISs after the August meeting. He did it before everything came down, like 3 or 4 days later, and made sure that they were out before that all happened. So we remained current to the end at that particular time in history.
An official gold star from the peanut gallery.
Terrence has something
And
to
Jeff,
say.
thank you.
Terrence
And-
has something to say.
Terrence?
3A, were you going to do anything on that?
3A, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Going back to 3A. With Scott resigning and not returning, the bylaws, to my surprise, make me the president, which makes the vice president job open. It should be said that Scott read this to me with glee in his voice as he hung up the phone laughing, Mr. President. The vice president job is open. It's a job we should probably fill. We have 11 of us. Is there any, Lori has offered to serve as the vice president, to take some of the load off me. Is there anyone that would like to be the vice president other than Lori? It's very quiet. That being the case, I would like to nominate Lori for the position of vice president of the Studio City Neighborhood Council.
Second.
So now we have a vote. All in favor? Yeah, I guess you have to take the votes.
Oh, I have to do it individually. Okay.
Kim,
Hey.
welcome. Yay! You came in just in time. We are 3A. The only person who wanted to be vice president is Lori. So,
Sure.
All right.
Lorenzo.
Yeah, well.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Is there public comment on the appointment of Lori as VP?
Richard Hop, can I just call you that?
No, what's my name?
Not go public.
Okay.
Wants to speak on every item, so.
Okay, who's the timer?
Dimitri,
And how much time do I have?
90 seconds.
90 seconds. You picked a very good person. She's been an adversary when she was in the city attorney's office against me, always been honest, meritful. This agenda smells of her input, and I thank her for that. I really do. Very smart, and she's no nonsense. So if anybody wants to try to download nonsense to her, she shuts down very quickly and so forth. So listen to her. She is definitely a match. Thank you.
Is Go Puppet there? Scott Mandel, you want to speak on all things?
No. Yeah.
That's all? Okay. That's it. Anybody else?
What is that the comment or is that on?
This is
It's on-
just for the VP.
Just for the, oh, now I'm calling the vote. Jen, Yes. Are you taking this down? Here. I'm just gonna go
Look
right
at your
through.
letterhead.
Adele?
Yes.
I'm doing it this way.
Okay.
Adele, yes?
Chip, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Dean, yes.
Kim, yes.
Yes.
11:00. Motion passes. Thank you, Terry.
Am I getting myself into?
Yes, a lot.
I know that already.
Kim, I know you just got here. Do you have the slides for your treasurer's report
Yeah.
and the laser presentation?
Yeah. Not much to report on. We're back in swing. I'm sorry, I'm still getting myself settled here. And the only thing since we took a little break, it slipped my mind about the August monthly expenditure report. So we're gonna be a little out of timing on the monthly expenditure reports, which are supposed to be done monthly, which will be fine. I'll just bring everything in November, so we'll be caught up. But you'll probably see some emails about that things haven't been submitted, and it's because we need to vote on them, of course, so I'll be bringing August, September, and October, November.
And we should probably do something with the credit cards as well.
That should still be, well, it's gonna be, yep. Scott no longer, Jen should have one at this point, right?
I shredded it upon instructions.
Oh, you shredded it? Okay, we'll get you back in contact with treasurer.
So we can get our
City clerk.
life-sustaining supply of cashews.
That's about it for now.
You missed it, but Barry brought up a good point with regard to Jeff's work, but also when everything hit the fan in August, it was really commendable that you stayed long enough to make sure all the paper got out before you did anything for your own interest. So thank you very much for doing that.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you, Barry.
We are now down to announcement by government representatives. Denise,
I'm right here.
there you are. Thank you very much for joining us. Come on
You're
down.
twisted on your thing.
My first. I'm gonna put it right here.
Hi, I'm Denise Shaw, field deputy for Studio City Borough Council President Paul Krikorian. I'm very glad to see everyone back and that you guys are back and running. I don't have many announcements. Our office is sponsoring with LAPD a trunk or treat. Did I say that right? Yes. On October 27th at Tierra Park. I will forward so it's forwarded to you, Jeff, the flyer?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. So you could put it on your website if you wanted to, on your calendar. Other thing I wanted to bring
Also
up,
Denise, Jen Bladen too, who's chairing outreach.
should I say?
Yeah, send it to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll send all upcoming flyers at community events to you. We are, I wanted to bring up that the housing department, I don't know if you're aware of this, they have now a new online site for home sharing where you can look up if somebody is registered, you can look up if there were complaints. I tried to do it today and it seems fairly user-friendly. So for example, the situation with that one party house that is an Airbnb. So now you can put the complaints in there, you can look up if there were complaints, you can look up in your neighborhood, I think. I was trying to figure it out, but I was having a little bit of problems. But what's around you and if any complaints are made. So I think it's, a step forward with planning, working towards more transparency with the home sharing ordinance. The one last thing I want to mention, we are didn't write down the date, but we are doing our annual toy drive again this year. It's the beginning of December, and I will send you the information, Jen, on that. Are there any questions?
Barry?
Barry's might be.
I just want to thank Council President Krikorian for doing whatever he did, a little bit of pressure to nudge Dunn and the city attorney's office along on making this happen with board members being able to rescind their resignations, and just in general, I think without his help, we would still be in limbo for God knows how much longer. And I think he made it happen, and Studio City is in his debt right now for just getting right back on track.
Thank you. Well, it was very important to him, and it didn't make sense. There had to be a way to get this back and running, and, you know, he really brainstormed a lot of different ideas. So I'm glad it worked out, and this was very important to him.
Thank you. Please do convey that to him.
I will.
Barry speaks for all of
I
us.
absolutely
Yeah,
will.
absolutely.
Absolutely will.
It wouldn't have been done without him.
We do know that.
Yeah.
Not go, but son?
In Van Nuys, there's a individual that's got appointed that was dishonorably discharged from the military regarding a sexual thing. I have what it is, but I'm waiting for the certified copy. How can your office help getting rid of this fine individual? Because the only way I could get rid of him is actually have to petition the military court. Or should we just have him stay around for our youth person to get molested or something?
So, you probably should talk with Aris in our office. She's the new field deputy for that area, and see,
Talk to the city attorney, that's
Or-
my understanding what she's represented.
okay, is that what she told you?
It was represented by one of my, another attorney when it was contacted.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know.
that's fine. But how do I contact city attorney since I'm not a client?
No, you need to contact Aris in our office. Did Aris tell you to contact city
She told
attorney?
the council, I had an attorney friend of mine call. on my
Okay,
behalf.
let me find out. Okay.
Barry, I stepped on you on 3 and 3A. Are you comfortable?
What do you mean?
I didn't.
Oh,
Okay.
me?
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm good, I'm
Okay.
good, yeah.
Back to you, Denise, sorry.
You know what, I did want to bring up, I know you guys have on your agenda the council file from 2012
Yes.
that deals with this. I did forward that information to our policy staff, and we're looking into it. The city attorney who's on it isn't working for the city anymore. I don't know.
Carmen, two tenants will not return phone calls. I just can't get that out.
So we're looking into that to see where that is, what can be done.
Okay. And we'll make all of that clear to the rest of the room when we get to the.
When you- yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much for that, I appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else?
No, and Barry sort of stole our thunder, but we wanted to officially thank you from this part of the table as well, for you being there and for everything that the council president did to help.
Thanks.
So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, also, while we're on the topic of that motion that was made in 2012, also, we had sent your office as well as CD4 our request for reforms
For the,
for Dunn and, for Dunn and, city attorney, reforms for Dunn and the city attorney in terms of. how they
Reform,
can-
you're saying reform, sorry.
Reforms,
Yeah.
reforms, in terms of how, in terms of that issue being, that issue, as well as how the city attorney treats neighborhood councils vis-à-vis how they treat other commissioners. The point that we should be treated with equal respect, or with the equal status of any other city commissioners, and we weren't being treated that way.
so yes, is CD4 here?
No, no,
So-
Walker's on vacation.
Okay, so Walker and I spoke, and Emma, about moving forward and looking into reforms, and and we're having that dialogue, and we're going to work together on that.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Denise. Really appreciate it.
thanks.
Lorenzo, I believe you were next on the agenda. Carries the largest number.
Good evening, board members, stakeholders. Just a few announcements here. The city council did introduce two council files that were introduced by Councilmember Soto Martinez. One is Council File 231113 and Council File 231114. These are both relative to SB 411, virtual meetings and teleconferencing, which was signed by the governor. And the city council has now pending before them Council File 231114, which is a resolution. The city requesting to authorize neighborhood councils to meet virtually. So once that is approved by the city council, they'll possibly provide guidelines to the department on what to create for neighborhood councils. We already have a platform in place. We went to Zoom back in 2020, but we're waiting to see if there'll be any other guidelines in place by the legislative body to provide to the department on that. And Council File 231113 is a report back from the department to give a report to the committee on what support and resources will be needed to provide neighborhood councils with the ability to meet virtually if they choose to meet virtually. So that would be provided to either the committee or to the city council. The department leadership is looking into that. And secondly, the department did launch the Roberts Rules Made Simple website. You all should have received the credentials to access that. If you did not, let me know. We can forward those credentials to you too.
I think we missed that during the no email window. I don't think I've seen that yet.
Okay, so I'll have the directors in charge of that to go ahead and resend the credentials to all the board members so that you can have access to the Roberts Rules Made Simple website. It's a free tool to you all offered by the department, so I'll go ahead and ensure that you all receive that. And lastly, you're all up to date with your funding, but if anyone's interested, the city clerk's office is offering financial officer training on Tuesday, October 24th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday, November 14th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., and Tuesday, November 28th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. All of this information was emailed to you just about 2 or 3 days ago. I sent that to you all with the RSVP link for anyone who's interested. And that concludes my announcements for this evening.
I have a question. When you're talking about doing meetings virtually, are you talking about hybrid meetings or strictly virtual?
It could be strictly virtual. Because
It could be, but could it be hybrid also? In other words, could,
Yes, because that would be,
and how do you deal with quorum when you have,
well, currently, under the hybrid model, you still have a quorum of the board in person, right? But with this virtual meeting, it could be that, quorum doesn't necessarily have to be established in person. So we're waiting for the guidelines to be provided to the department so that we can disseminate that information onto the neighborhood council system.
And then we'll need to have a conversation about how that gets done. I mean, one of the first things that's available is it would be a tool for us to use to bring a synthetic turf expert from Boston in remotely. I mean, it could really enhance the way that committees run if we're able to actually have someone not physically present who's a subject matter expert contributing something to the discussion. And then there's also the stakeholder elements too. We'll have to figure that out once we see how flexible we can be with it. And will it be required that we have the same rules for the board and committee meetings, or could we have different protocols for the two meetings?
That's actually what we're waiting to hear back on. Right now, I don't have an answer to that, so we'll have to wait and see what comes from city council, what's going to be provided to the department.
Do you have a timing idea for that?
I do not. I don't. It depends on the city council on how soon they want to take up those two council files. So I would just recommend to subscribe and track both those council files so that you are aware of any activity that's taking place on those files.
Thank you. Barry, you're first, and then Lisa.
I just want to say, I cannot tell you, well, I attend a lot of meetings. I attended Encino homeowners last night. They invited me, and it wasn't in person. And the council member from CD4 was there. And I'm telling you, she didn't get the passion of the room because there was no room there. She's just hearing the one person that's talking. It is so important to meet in person for the passion of the room, to get to the board, to get to a city council meeting, to get really of all the developments we have in Studio City, to get face to face with the people that are making decisions on what's happening to Studio City. And Zoom just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't. We are suffering now because of the Zoom years in Studio City, because our point was not gotten across in so many places.
Lisa?
So I'm on the plan review board for the Ventura Cahuenga Boulevard Corridor Specific Plan. And we use an OWL system, which is the most uncomfortable and terrible view on screen. It's awful. We can't, basically you can't see anyone but some of our people. It's supposed to turn.
System?
It's called OWL. It looks like an owl. And it sits in a certain place and it's supposed to turn to whoever's talking. Well, I'm talking and it's at some other lady and my husband texts me and he says, "Isn't that your voice?" That kind of stuff. But also setting it up. We've had that for about 6 months and the planning department doesn't know how to set it up.
But we seem to be
And-
looking more at Zoom.
Well, he said Zoom or some other, okay? This is, okay, plus, only the board members have to show up. Nobody else. So not even the staff members have to be there, except for the person that's running the thing. And if you look at the CPC meeting on the 26th, regarding the specific plan itself, you'll see how the whole thing works. That's what they use. They're not using Zoom anymore. So you see on the top all the people, but you really can only see their heads. You can't ever tell who's talking. And then there's a whole big space, and then there's a little teeny corner in this. So
We'll
it's
have to take
very,
whatever-
very uncomfortable and very, very hard to use.
We'll have to take, when we see what the hardware is, then we can make that decision, not go puppet son, you were next in chronology, and then Peter, you're on deck.
Okay, don't cry. I received a copy of a letter, legally, of course, from your boss regarding getting rid of Mr. King or the sex offender. And there's several things I dissected on it, and it said right here, he couldn't be on because of neighborhood council systems, values, and goals. Do you have any citation on that, on what goals and values there are? Is it because the values and goals make sure that a conservative Republican can't be on neighborhood council? Gold Puppet can't be on the neighborhood council, and he's not my father. If you don't know, I get it. Second issue that's even more important. Over the years, I keep sending in, and there's been stories on LA Watch about me, about your broken hyperlinks on your wonderful website. I would like to know which person's working on that, and if you don't know, just say you don't know, which is fine with me.
Yeah, no, that would be our tech team, and I think, I believe,
They don't do anything.
I'll convey the message.
They won't
and
listen.
Hopefully they.
Okay, thank you. What are the values and goals?
I believe-
If I want to be a sex offender and I want to come in, what are the values and goals?
I believe.
Says it right here, if you want to refresh your memory.
I believe it's reference that's part of the plan, which is created under the ordinance, so.
Yeah, formerly incarcerated is allowed to,
Correct.
then same thing prohibited. Government Code 1021.5 says it. Okay, no problem, thank you.
Peter, you're up.
I don't want to get beat up by Barry, but I wholeheartedly disagree with Barry on the in-person's great, but the Zoom has a really good advantage in that, like last night, Nithya Raman totally hung herself, and it's all recorded, and you have a close-up on her face, her audio is really clear. That can be posted, you can review that later, what she said, and you can create a transcript from that. You can keep these people accountable. If this neighborhood council wants to set up a hybrid system, I'm sure the city won't be able to do it. I can do it. I can outdo anything the city can do, but that's not There is no one-stop shop for hybrid stuff. It has to be customized. For instance, a hybrid system in this room is different than a hybrid system in a normal room. It's extremely expensive, extremely time-consuming to set up, but it can be done. But I think Zoom is great.
Thank you, sir.
Well, but I have a question. Are we recording this?
Yeah, this is, may or may not work out. I would have, for instance, had I known it was in this room, I would have set it up with all your tables at that end, and then put the camera in a different place, and, you know, it's a whole other thing. I will probably be able to make this sound pretty decent with, I'm gonna say a dirty word, artificial intelligence software that I use, but, as a public record, I think we need to make an attempt to really recordings that are good enough for software to create a transcript so we can review what happened without, I think this happened. That's some real documentation.
Thanks, Peter. We're going to rely on you. And I'm looking forward to the Peter Cole versus LA City trash collection marathon. Lorenzo, are you done, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, quick question.
Oh, sorry, Jim.
Cornerstone training credentials, are they going to be the same as they were before for the returning members?
Yes.
And also I'm going to need, my credentials for filing CISs. Will all the passwords and stuff still work?
They should be in place, but if you are experiencing any technical issues, let me know and I'll have those rosters and systems team reset the passwords.
Okay.
Because that is not a system to which I have access, right?
For the CIS portal,
Yes.
probably not. Sign up to it.
Okay.
In Cornerstone, you should have your credentials. Or that's for the training for ethics.
Right. Okay.
I have a question. It's an odd question, but we all resigned. We all got our resignations rescinded. Well, not you, but should we be sworn in again? Technically?
I mean, it doesn't hurt, right?
I just-
But it's because when
It's rescinded.
it's rescinded, everything goes back to what it was. You're back
But,
in
okay.
place, so.
It just occurred to me, like, I don't want to be illegal.
She wants the pomp and circumstance,
I like,
apparently.
I like saying the word.
She just wants another pin.
I have a quick clarification. Do you have like a list of these links that aren't working that might be helpful for Lorenzo to take back to his tech people?
I will be glad, at the pleasure of you, to send to all board members a copy of what I've scraped off their website, their story about me several times, and the first time I did it, downtown neighborhood council called the police on me. That was very nice for them. So I'll be glad to send you all the supporting documents on what type of dirtbag I am. I'll do that later tonight.
That's the links that you.
Hyperlinks.
Hyperlinks that are broken, that,
Yes,
okay.
it's called link rot. I'll even give you the information on what link rot is. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Are there any other government representatives here? Our government, anybody else's government, anything? Okay, we're good. Thank you. We're now going to go to public comment on non-agenda items within the neighborhood council's jurisdiction. It'll be 90 seconds per speaker. We're looking for probably 15 minutes, and I think we should be able to accommodate it in that. Go for it.
Scott Mandel?
I have just one question. Thank you. Are you guys still in exhaustive efforts, or have you been released since you have a quorum tonight, or do you not know? I didn't hear Lorenzo mention it. I probably should have asked it previously.
What do you mean exhaustive effort?
Well, it's more of a Lorenzo question.
I guess you aren't?
I heard him say no.
Okay.
Well, let Lorenzo.
I don't want to interrupt the comment, but just briefly, they have not been released yet. We're waiting for the.
You're still in exhaustive efforts.
What are we waiting for? What is that?
We were waiting for the board to achieve quorum and to fill vacancies. So that was the whole reasoning behind placing the NC in exhaustive efforts, because quorum was lost and there weren't sufficient board members to obtain quorum.
So we will need.
Right, exactly. But I don't want to interrupt public comment because.
Well, wait a sec, I just want clarification though. So we have a quorum.
You have a quorum. So Again, the NC was placed into exhaustive efforts because at the time, there were only 3 members. So it was, so that the department can pay the bills administratively, take care of the admin functions, and to do a selection to fill vacancies. But since then, the resignations were rescinded and the majority of the seats were filled again.
So does that mean we're going to be released from exhaustive efforts?
Correct, yes.
And at the bonk meeting on Monday, we weren't on the list. There were others and we weren't.
And it probably had to do with the fact that the sufficient board seats were already filled. So the board will be receiving a letter from department leadership indicating that the NC is now released from exhaustive efforts.
Okay, and as far as you can tell, we've satisfied the,
Oh, yeah.
okay, fair enough.
Basically, it's a receivership, basically, exhaustive efforts. It's a receivership.
Soon come.
Do you have any other comments, Scott?
Also, don't forget that the board approved the purchase of a tripod, SD card, microphone cables, and other assorted items, so you can continue recording in the event Peter is unable to, his gear or Chip or whatever else. It was, I think it was the July meeting that you approved it, so. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Not go puppet.
Who's timing me? Yeah, when I hit about 15 seconds, tell me so I can shut it down.
15 seconds to go or 15 seconds in?
15 seconds to go. I'm sorry for these. Okay. Jen, there was something in the LA Times, and it said, quote, and if it's wrong, I'll do that. It said, quote, but she said she also thinks the system has worked as it should because he believed formerly incarcerated people should have the right, not privilege, right to serve on the neighborhood council board as dictated by city rules. Don has never given me the city rules on that.
Say it again? What was the question?
Are these quotes in the LA Times correct?
Yes, what was your question?
Okay, I was just reading it. You identified that you want to have convicted, prohibited persons on neighborhood council boards, like sex offenders, dishonest.
No, that's not what I said at all. That's out of
Then I'll talk
context.
to you offline on what you said.
Yeah.
Second issue is, in Van Nuys, we have a dishonorably discharged individual that is a terrible person. And our president, Kathy Schreiner, simply told him, you don't have to answer that question of what you were convicted of. But of course, that gets me more inquisitive.
15 seconds.
Cost me a lot of money to do. And I'll be glad to name a lot of other people so they could come in his military case, so they could see what type of a-hole I am. Thank you, to get rid of this person.
Patty Kirby?
Hi, I'll just be real quick. I just wanted to, just in case that we get a ad hoc committee or the Weddington, Plum Committee and Council District vote gets on our discussion as fast as possible. I'd like to get a CIS out before the council final vote, if there's any possible way. And so either we reinstitute an ad hoc committee or do the committee, whatever way you guys figure it out. And then also one for the Radford expansion development. If we're looking at a DIR maybe in the summer or early fall. That's it.
So you're asking to have the ad hoc reconstituted for Harvard Westlake to come up with another CIS prior to tomorrow?
With a CIS, yes. I don't think we did a CIS, it wasn't a council file before, it was just a report. Now we have a council file.
And we probably will need to have a ad hoc for Radford.
Separate.
There's nothing to talk about yet. There's no application. But also, may I,
Yes, sir.
may I make a suggestion?
Yeah, let's do public comment, we're in the middle of public comment, let's stick to what we're doing.
I think we should respect Lisa's rights here.
That's it?
There is an NOP for the Radford development.
Yeah, gotcha.
Next speaker is Gentle Phoenix.
Hi, I just wanted to second the ad hoc for Save Weddington and Radford as well. Thanks.
Public comment, Go Puppet?
Yes, that's right. So, as you know, why is Chip Meehan the president? I wasn't notified there was an election. I think the real president is over here, the Nixon-like person over here, Scott. So, how the hell do you have a president on the agenda when we didn't have a meeting to elect a president? I don't understand. And when does Bach rescind a resignation? There is no rule. Your resignations are final once submitted. So you are all no longer board members, right? You can't just pull it back, right? If you could do that, then the late Richard Nixon could have pulled his resignation back and became president after he was given his pardon, right? Damn, I like that idea. Yeah, I got it from you, asshole. Anyway, don't excuse me here. So, as I say, I believe that this board is illegal. I believe all of you turncoats resign just because you had somebody here you didn't like. You put them on the board, but you just didn't like them after. It's like most of you when you buy a car at the dealership, you drive it for a few miles, no, you don't like it. Buyer's remorse, too bad. There is nothing wrong with having a criminal record. I agree. There is nothing wrong with having a restraining order. There is nothing wrong with beating your woman in self-defense.
Go Puppet.
I'm glad your time's over.
And now we're open for more public comment. Peter Cole?
Going back to the issue with the gentleman who blew up this neighborhood council, I'd like to see this board, I don't know what you would call it, but come out with a statement to city council and to all our representatives to kind of clean up their act a bit after what happened. This gentleman was on camera on the news and making a public comment at city council. And because the city council doesn't want to see public speakers, people from the public up close, they do go to a wide shot. What you see in the wide shot is that none of our representatives listen. They're busy doing other business. So you can see Nithya Rahman totally diss this gentleman for his comments about our registered sex offender in this neighborhood council. Also, I think that we should also come up with a statement that these are council people, not their staff, but the council people show up at these meetings like every 3 months. And not just, we ask a question, they answer what they choose to answer, and it goes back. We need a little back and forth with our representatives, so we slip out of line and so forth. So anyway, I'd like to see some pushback from this board. See if we can get that done.
We did present a list of reforms we'd like to see to Krikorian's office and to Nithya Rahman's office as well. So in that manner, we did request a bunch of changes and things to be
Is there any
different.
interest in other neighborhood councils to join on board with that? Because it's usually more powerful than others.
Chip, this is a Brown Act violation.
And I'll shut up.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Lisa Sarkin, did you want to have public comment?
Oh, yes,
Anybody else? Yes,
I want to
Eric?
hear from
I think,
Lisa.
I think agenda item number 8 will take care of all of this. And the advice given to the previous president in August did not include, the person giving the advice was not aware that a new state law had taken place since 2012 that says a registered sex offender cannot be in a volunteer organization, which you all are, that includes a minor as one of those, and we have a minor board member. That takes care of it all right there, but that wasn't known by the person giving the advice hours before the August board meeting. Had that been known and the attorney was up to date or even looked it up, none of this would have happened.
Any other public comment? None, we can move on to
Lisa chickened out.
agenda item number
It's because of you.
motion. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council requests Council President Paul Kokorian and Councilmember Nithya Raman make a joint motion to revive Council File 12-1321, which was passed by the 2012 City Council. Council File 12-1321 was passed unanimously in 2012 and then sent to City Attorney Carmen.
True Tanage.
Thank you.
Yeah, my
To
good
report
friend.
back on creating and enforcing city regulations that were prohibit violent felons and sex offenders from running for positions on neighborhood council boards. No such report back ever occurred, and this council file expired on October 1st, 2014. In an update of the council file, important information contained in California Penal Code, Section 290.05, which did not exist in 2012, must be included. Do I have to read this?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
California Penal Code, Section 290.95. A, every person required to register under Section 290 who applies for or accepts a position as an employee or volunteer with any person, group, or organization where they, where the
registrant.
Where the registrant
Typo.
would be working directly in an unaccompanied setting with minor children on more than an incidental and occasional basis, or have supervisory or disciplinary power over minor children, shall disclose his or her status as a registrant upon application or acceptance of a position to that person, group, or organization. B, what? Please, yes, please.
Every person required to register under Section 290 who applies for or accepts a position as an employee or volunteer with any person, group, or organization where the applicant would be working directly in an unaccompanied setting with minor children, and the applicant's work would require him or her to touch the minor children on more than an incidental basis, shall disclose his or her status as a registrant upon application or acceptance of the position to that person, group, or organization, to that person, group, or organization. Back to you for C.
Yeah. No person who is required to register under Section 290 because of conviction for a crime where the victim was a minor under the age of 16 years of age shall be an employer, employee, or independent contractor, or act as a volunteer with any person, group, or organization in a capacity in which the registrant would be working directly and in an unaccompanied setting with minor children on more than an incidental and occasional basis, or have supervision or disciplinary power over minor children. This subdivision shall not apply to a business owner or an independent contractor who does not work directly in an unaccompanied setting with minors.
For purposes of this section, quote, working directly in an unaccompanied setting includes but is not limited to providing goods or services to minors. E, a violation of this section is a misdemeanor publishable by imprisonment in a county jail for not exceeding 6 months, by fine not exceeding $1,000, or by both, that imprisonment and fine, and a violation of this section shall not constitute a continuing offense.
Brought by Chip Meehan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jen seconded. Okay, discussion? I guess we go to public comment first. And I have, you wanted number 9. Is that you? Did you want to talk about this? No. Oh, okay. Public comment? I can go through it. Barry?
Oh, I think this is a good motion, and I was pleased that Denise from Council President Krikorian's office said that they're already on it, having seen our agenda, and they're working with Councilmember Raman's office. And I think we just need to get it sent in and verify it. And it's also interesting that in the vote that they took in 2012, it was unanimous. And the only person on that, but the city attorney never followed through, but it was unanimous to study what they should do. And the only current city council member that's still on the council on the list is Paul Krikorian. So, you know, he knows the ball was dropped by the city attorney. So I was glad to hear Denise say what she said.
And once, assuming we pass this, I will reach out to the other neighborhood councils and let them know that this has gone on. I will speak with them, and to the point earlier, we will sit there and there will be strength in numbers of getting this done. This seems to be rather snafu. The laws are there. They weren't well-known. There are some contradictory passages in various different pieces that overlap. We need to get this straightened out, and this is a big step in getting that done.
Any other public comment?
Do you think Bonk has to be involved with this? Just a question to find out, I guess, because maybe it has to go through them.
Is that something you know, Lorenzo?
Take the fifth,
No, I mean, not necessarily, because again, this would be something that would be worked on by the legislative body.
Oh,
right?
okay.
If they're gonna make any amendments or changes, and then direct the commission, and then the
Take the
department.
fifth, take the fifth.
Richard?
When it's 15 seconds. I'm gonna have to defend the city attorney's office on this, because I knew what was happening at that point. The city attorney is the attorney for the client. The client was not being very truthful with the city attorney's office. City attorney's office does not tell the client what to do. They're in an advisory position. The main issue why that didn't go forward was called cost shifting. The issue is who's going to pay for all the live scans for all neighborhood councils. So if you have 1,000 people that want to apply, and you have to do a live scan, that's fingerprints. Who's going to pay for that? And the issue that came is, if someone did not have the economic capacity of paying for it, you're being discriminatory. So the city attorney office did not drop the ball. It was a cost shifting by a bunch of bureaucrats at Dunn and so forth. I think her name at that time, I think it was Gracie Liu, very nice socialist. So you really have to look on the legislative construction, legislative intent, but the city attorney's office only does what they're instructed to do by the client, not a finger more. And if they did anything more than that, that becomes an ethical violation. And you have a wonderful person right here
15.
that could, if she so chooses, to explain what the city attorney's office does. Thank you.
Any other comment? Okay. Call for a vote.
I raised my hoof, ma'am.
Yeah,
I'm raising my hoof.
I think we need, it says section 290, and it says status as a registrant. I think there needs to be reference that section 290 is part of the Sex Offender Registration Act. It just says registrant, there's no context there. So I think we need to insert somewhere that section 290 is part of the Sex Offender Registration Act.
So
Then we know what we're talking about here, because it just says very blandly registrant.
So if it just said after California Penal Code Section 290.95, if we just had in parens, California Sex Offender Registry?
Yeah, well, it says here, sections 290 to 290.024 shall be cited as the Sex Offender Registration Act. So I think we need to make reference to section 290 as being part of the Sex Offender Registration Act,
So in the
just to make it clear.
So in an update of the council file, important information contained in California Penal Code, Section 290.05, which language?
I would say section 290 of the Sex Registration Act must be included, including the foregoing section,
Where's my public comment?
290.95. But there needs to be, we need to relate back to 290, explain what 290 is. That's part of the Sex Registration Act. Just so we're crystal clear on that.
So important information contained in California Penal Code 290, the California Sex Registration?
Section 290 of the Sex Offender Registration Act then I would say, and Penal Code Section 290.95, which did not exist in 2012, must be included. Then we kind of have a contextual thing here, so people know what we're talking about in terms of what register means. It's not like registering a vehicle.
290 of the California
Sex Offender Registration Act,
Sex Offender.
and then, which did not exist in 2012, must be included.
No, it goes like this. Let me read it to you. In an update on the council file, important information contained in California Penal Code 290 of the California Sex Offender Registration Act and
Penal Code
section, and Penal Code Section 290.05, which did not, must be included, right?
Yeah.
So that's a clause
Yeah.
you want to put in there to define the thing. Did you get that? You got
Yeah,
it.
public comment. Did you finish?
You know what? We do have to go back to go public.
Go for it.
Well, I
I'm
raised,
sorry.
yeah, I raised my virtual hook.
I didn't think you were raising your hand.
Yeah, what does this look like? Heil Hitler? No, raise my hand.
It looks like a puppet. But go ahead, go puppet.
Oh, how dare you? So, look at these lawyers up here talking about the statute. What the hell do you know about it? That's like this guy over here fixing a helicopter, which I'm certified. Ew, ew, not in a long time. Anyway, now, what we do is we have something called a protected activity under the Bain Act of California. Don't you have a right to participate in a protected activity even though you're an ex-con? And all of you are registered Democrats. Aren't you getting rid of the box? Remember that? No on the box. When you rent an apartment, you shouldn't have to check whether you have a record. You sound like a bunch of Trump Republicans here tonight. You want to take fingerprints and you want to find out people's backgrounds and all of that other shit. Yes, walk out in shame. Yes, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And I'm glad I'm the only good Democrat in the room tonight. I think that people should have a second chance. And I think it starts right here tonight when you tell the city council, we welcome everybody. There's nothing there that so-and-so violated because he was not alone with children. He would not be alone with children. He'd be in a group with children, so it doesn't even apply.
Thank you.
God,
That's
you're
fine.
so stupid. And they're too conservative. And you're too conservative for me.
So do we do, can we do comment on what
Yes.
myself?
We know about you, yes.
So I have a question about the linking between the first item, Council File 12-1321, and then the Penal Code Section 290.95. Isn't that latter code already part of a law that we need to abide by?
But it is seemingly in conflict with the other conversation where the population of the formerly incarcerated are encouraged to participate.
Yeah, yeah.
So there wasn't right, so there wasn't a carve out for violent criminals who may or may not be excluded from participation in the way that other policy was put together. That's where the conflict came in. So that needs to be straightened out.
Also, state law trumps city law. This is a state statute, so it trumps anything in city. The city can pass something, there's already a state law which governs that area.
But is 290.95 state or city?
California.
290 is state, right? It's California.
Yes.
So that means that we therefore need to abide by that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't see why it should be included. I feel like we should be voting on the first matter, which is having to do with whether or not violent felons and sex offenders should be prohibited from running for positions on neighborhood council boards. This other attachment would almost conflate something. It makes it seem like it makes it harder to vote in good conscience on the former matter.
Sounds too smart. Let's remove them from the board.
Because to me, this former issue is the real issue. And I'll say that to reflect some of the sentiment from Goat Puppet,
Well, thank you, sir.
I have a tough time prohibiting a violent felon or a sex offender from running for office. In fact, if I look at the last situation that we went through, I don't think that's the fault of the person who ran for this office. I think it's our fault for not having done our homework properly, and to some extent, the city's fault for not having given us the opportunity to deliberately reflect on it. But I don't feel that I can tell someone, because of your past, you shouldn't have a right to rehabilitate yourself and make for a productive presence within our community.
But all this says is you need to declare. It doesn't say you're going to be refused. What the state law says, if I read it correctly, and I don't know why I'm talking with two attorneys up here, right? The state law says you have to declare. We could still say, once someone declared, they were elected.
Shall disclose.
Where are you seeing that?
Shall
Oh, but that's this other one. But this is already, this seems like a moot point to me if this is already the case. We're expected to abide by it.
But
I'm more focused on the former matter, the Council File
But
1220.
if this was already there, then we wouldn't be having this conversation because we would have heard that from the
Yeah,
applicant.
yeah, okay.
So I think that's the issue.
Okay, but we need to separate then these two issues because this former issue, Council File 121321, is to me an issue that we need to resolve as a board. And I think we need to hold ourselves, and I think we need to hold the city more responsible than we have so far.
Well, I think what we're doing is going back and saying in 2012, it was enough of an issue for it to get unanimous, let's figure this out, and then it died. We'd like you to figure this out. And so there is not conflicting guidance in the setup.
And the council office gets it.
Right. And so let the council, we're asking the council to figure it out and pointing out that this is here
And the
in
problem,
particular.
and the problem is, we just don't want this to happen again. We don't want it to happen to other neighborhood councils. The city needs to fix the city needs to get its act together. I mean,
But I understand that the city needs to get its act together. What I'm suggesting is that we as a board need to also get our act together. To me, it's a fool's errand to kind of rely on other people all the time to help our consciences along. I think we have a role to play.
But I don't understand where, and I really would rather move forward than go back, but the applicant in this case did not explain where, did not reveal that
Right.
there was a registration.
Right.
What this is saying is, when you go back and figure out from 2012,
Yeah.
what happened 11 years ago, don't forget that this is there as well.
And I think this
Okay.
motion is the action you're looking for, Dimitri. I think that's what this is we're saying, we are not satisfied with how this went down. We want city to make sure that other neighborhood councils don't encounter what we encountered by making this motion. Am I wrong? Is that right?
Because
This motion is suggesting, that we're going to vote to essentially approve prohibiting violent felons and sex offenders from running for positions on neighborhood council boards, which to me is to be distinguished from whether or not the ethical issue of whether or not they should be able to work around minors, whether or not they should have to disclose their criminal past. Those are separate issues to me.
I'd like to call for a vote.
Can you go in reverse alphabetical order?
Yeah. But wait,
Well, welcome to Ryan, Jen, for you.
I just was saying,
I-
we can vote on these things, but we could also establish internal bylaws which deal with our own screening of candidates. So there are two different issues here. So, I mean, we can do both. It's not, one is not exclusive, so.
Point of order?
We can
Yeah,
definitely
well-
do that.
I don't think Dunn will allow that. We
Yeah,
tried
well-
to do that.
Well,
So
The
you're saying that you
the beard
think that
wants
you
to
could
say
put it on
something.
in your bylaws, but I'm positive that we tried to do that.
Okay, guys, let's
let's find out.
yes, we'll find out.
I have a
Black Cat wants to say
question,
something.
however you phrase, I need something answered. In this original council file, did it prohibit violent felons and sex offenders from running for positions? Or was it more, I don't
They
remember.
never got that far.
It-
The city attorney
No, but
never did
what,
it.
there was a motion, there was a council file.
You'd have to look at it.
Lorenzo,
I'm
you know
willing-
the answer?
I didn't have an answer on that, I just wanted to point out that there was a call for the vote, so unless there's an objection, then they would have to take that to a vote.
So you have to call for the vote.
I have an objection because I can't vote on it until I know the answer to this question. I'm objecting.
So then, since there's an objection, there have to be a vote to see if it passes, so that's the board can continue its.
Yes, and they'll have to take public comment on that objection.
So we could go back now and read the bill, which is linked to the agenda.
Yeah,
You can just pull it up and see it.
we have to vote on my objection.
Yeah, we have to vote on that.
If the board wants to continue to have a discussion, we would vote in favor of the.
Demetrius seconded the objection.
Okay, I'm gonna call, all in favor of the objection. I'm gonna go Adele, I'm gonna go
Public comment on
yes,
the objection?
Drew,
No.
Lori,
Isn't that public comment on the objection? Richard?
what?
No, he said.
Chip,
Nope.
Jeff,
No?
Ansley, Dimitri,
Yes.
Dean,
No.
Kim,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
shit, I didn't count.
There are four yeses.
It passed.
It
Oh,
didn't.
it passed.
I don't think
Okay.
it did.
No.
4 yeses and the rest are no's.
Yeah.
So it did not
That's-
pass.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I wish it passed, I'm sorry.
Okay, so call for a vote. So we're voting on this motion. I'll go in reverse order again. Adele, no. Drew?
Yes.
Lori? Yes.
No.
Richard?
Public comment. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Now we're voting on the full.
We're voting on the, we're
Public
voting,
comment offered on this item?
we need public comment first?
Yes, you did.
Offered in the beginning.
You're
Wait,
fine.
I'm sorry.
On the amendment objection, yes.
Okay, public comment on the amendment.
That's why
All right.
That's why I spoke, see, but
Go
you.
ahead, thank you.
Well, see, you ignored me because.
I did not, I just,
Yeah, discriminate against just because I have horns. So, yes. And again, you're messing around with protected activities, and you should listen to your heart, not the law. Shouldn't a person that runs over a couple of people while angry get a second chance later once they're out of prison? Yes, of course, yes. Shouldn't a person that clubs somebody because the trash cans were always never taken out after trash, shouldn't they get a second chance? Or how about that neighbor that keeps parking in your parking spot, and eventually after 9 or 10 years, you just explode one day and you beat him with a pipe, but you get out and serve your time? Shouldn't you be able to recover and be able to rehabilitate? Of course! Crime is an instant matter, but it takes decades sometimes to rehabilitate. It's time to forgive and forget. Yes, maybe disclose, but people should be able to come here and be part of the government. Even people like Mark Ridley Thomas. I think he should be sitting on the council, shouldn't he? Because he's appealing there, Mr. Liberal over there, and they will not let him take his chair and legislate, even though his conviction is not final under the law. I think we need to expand the concept of forgiveness and not this treachery you're doing tonight. That was beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Now we will hear from Lisa. Yes.
Richard?
Lori,
Oh, yeah.
you're dealing with a very wide range of subject matter. You should maybe suggest to them, send to the bylaws committee so it can be really hashed out rather than on the fly. I have no problem outreaching to people at the LA Law Library to join in as an active security individuals. You'll have a lot of support. Dimitri, you're a little off with me, but you did bring up some very valid points. Dealing with a wide range of everything, if you case up the file, so to speak, to be presented, that means that the council officers have to do that much work, that you can get where you can go. That's what I would do, not do everything on the fly, which is very cumbersome. And some of it's a little hard for some people, some of it's very easy for others. But that's what I would suggest, put it in the committee, let them spend their 8 hours on it, and then let's bring it back with a ribbon on it. Thank you.
Lisa?
So it's a community impact statement that can be filed from this. Also done, really works at getting young people in onto these neighborhood councils. And I believe that this particular person lied about himself when he was asked some questions that would pertain to this. And you can't have it both ways. You can't have young people and then have a person who's a sex offender on a board. So this would become a council file, going right into the council file, and then pretty much the councilmen will have to do something about getting it sent to the city attorney's office so that they can finally make a decision. So adding all the extra, everything you add in is work that the council office doesn't have to do. And that's what neighborhood councils are supposed to be doing from the ground up.
Barry?
This motion is very straightforward. All it is asking is the motion that they started in 2012 that they didn't follow through on, that when they now resurrect it and start working on it again, be sure to be aware of new state laws that have been enacted since 2012. That's all this saying. You had Council President Krikorian's representative here tonight saying they've already started working on this.
That's not your time of
That they've already started working on it just from seeing this motion. So they are eager to work on this. They've even reached out to the other council office. So I don't know, I can't ever remember when they've started working on a motion just from our agenda before you've even voted on it.
Very powerful.
But it's great.
Yes, Steve.
Scott?
Thank you. So in 2012, the city council instructed the city attorney's office to prepare an ordinance that would prevent violent felons and registered sex offenders from serving on neighborhood councils and city commissions. Wasn't running, you were prevented from serving as those two disqualified.
Elected officials, appointed commissioners on neighborhood council boards, and the city department general managers.
So
That's not a fine, I mean, that's a very important point to me, is that you can run for whatever you want to run for. It's like you can sue whoever you want to sue. It's whether or not you are allowed to serve. And the language in the original motion says, and anyone who is a registered sex offender, when this becomes voted in, is asked to step down as well. So, I mean, I feel like I did not resign from this seat because someone stood here and ran. I resigned because that person did not disclose to us. And I think that the difference is huge. I think that he should have been allowed to run, and we should have been allowed to know what we were up against.
But we never got to that point in 2012.
Yeah. So, any more public comment on this? So we're back to a vote now on the motion.
Yep.
Chips was stuck then, because.
I'm sorry.
I'm done, it's okay. I think you guys should.
I just want to make sure he was in the middle of talking and working there.
We're so used to interrupting.
Thank you.
Sorry, Scott.
I feel like you were Scott, I feel like you were making a distinction between running and serving. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, there'd be no point in running if you're barred from serving. Right. So if you did it secretly and you be kicked off, just as the letter that Not Goat Puppet's son read, it said that that person could not serve because of goals and values, which we don't seem to have any citation for it to take care of that. Because it was implied that even if you run and win, you still cannot serve. But we were told after the fact.
Yep.
It was the goat.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm gonna make one little point because I read the thing. This is not accurate. What is here is not.
We go back to public comment.
vote.
Call for a vote. Jen?
No, you're at Niederberg right now. Richard is the next one.
I'm going to take the vote over again. I'm going to start it with you.
Yes,
Jen
On the
Black?
motion?
yes, I second.
For the
that.
motion, yeah. Jen?
Yes.
Kim Clements?
Yes.
Dean Cutler?
Yes.
Dimitri?
No.
Ansley?
Yes.
Jeff Hardwick?
Yes.
Chip Meehan?
Yep.
Richard Niederberg?
Yes.
Lori Rittenberg?
Yes.
Drew Shaw?
Yes.
Adele Slaughter, yes.
Okay, thank you for that. So moving to 9, this is report by committee chairs. We probably, sorry.
It's actually 10 because you had 2 3s on the agenda. If you look on your agenda, you had 3 and then 3 and 4. So this actually pushes it to 10.
Thank you. This is what happens when you don't use your fingers. Number 10, report by committee chairs. I put this down as much so the public can actually find who our committee chairs are. And I'm pleased to say that as I left my house today, I heard from Abby. And although Abby does not want to be a board member due to time constraints in her life, she does want to be the cultural affairs chair. So moves in the park lives, and that's a good thing. So.
Yes, yes.
Kim, do you have a budget meeting? Do we need to have a budget committee meeting anytime soon?
I don't think so, and, yes, well, yes and no on that, but I don't think so. How about I don't want it?
Okay. I don't want to works.
No, I think
You let us know when we need to do that.
yeah.
Jeff, you're going to be a busy boy.
Yeah, looking for volunteers for bylaws and procedures. There were 2 board members on there previously, but they're no longer board members, so we got some vacancies. So if anyone's interested, let me know, and I'll add you, and we can enact some reforms. We've been pretty good about changing things in the past, so we'll continue pressing forward with that.
There's no comment from Abby since she's not here. Her next meeting is November 6th. So Cultural Affairs meets Tuesday, November 6th. And while I'm going forward, I did uncancel all the meetings starting today, moving through the end of November. December is blank. Traditionally, we're a little light, if not dark, in December. And next month, we can talk about whether or not we might like to pick up some light meetings in the month of December to make up for work that maybe didn't get done in September. But let's cross that bridge later. Government Affairs, Barry.
We're meeting on Wednesday, November 1st at 6, and we'll probably have quite a large agenda since we missed September and October. And anyone that is interested in being on that committee, let me know or let Chip know. And Drew is joining us. So we do have a board member, and Richard's already on it, so that's all I have.
Okay, Drew, do you have anything on homelessness?
Do. The SCNC Homelessness Committee is accepting committee members from the public and the council. The plan is for 1 meeting per quarter to set agenda and establish schedule for working groups. We would like to work with the other committees on the SCNC board, specifically outreach, land use, public safety, and government affairs for a comprehensive vision for how homelessness is addressed in Studio City. We would also like to work with local nonprofits, community members, and establish city and state agencies for programs for camp cleanups, connecting, and most importantly, connecting homeless individuals with the appropriate services that are already available for them. I feel like homelessness is a real and serious issue that directly affects the quality of life in Studio City for the residents, the stakeholders, the business owners, and everyone who would come here to spend their money and their time in Studio City. We have a fantastic riverfront that's a park. We had a cleanup recently with the help of Better Angels, which is a nonprofit that's with homelessness that we would like to continue to work with. So if anybody has any interest in homelessness committee. If anybody has any nonprofits that would like to reach out to work with us, we would love to set up some schedules to give people help that they really need. Thank you.
Lisa, you're up with land use.
All right, so I'm looking to form a new committee, and I'm trying to get people to, from all over Studio City. We need somebody from the hillside, somebody from the east, from the west, from the different neighborhoods. And I'm looking for probably about 9 people. It really worked really well with that number before. And we are gonna have to take, and I really haven't been able to find out for sure, there is a Zoom that you have to take to be on a land use committee. I don't know if the board has to take that yet, but I'm hoping to find that out. And so,
You mean a Zoom training?
it's a Zoom training, and I was thinking if I know who wants to be on the land use committee and we put it together, maybe we could meet in the office and we could all take it at the same time. I don't believe there's anything written. I think it's something to
Lorenzo,
watch.
do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, I believe that's the Planning 101 training.
Yeah.
That's offered through Cornerstone. So the committee members have to take that training. So therefore, the committee will then offer a recommendation to the board to be able to vote on that. If the committee did not exist, then the board members wouldn't be able to vote on any planning and land use training issues if the board had not taken the training. So the board would have to take the training, but in this case, there is a committee, so the committee members would have to take it.
How long is
Okay,
that
wait a minute,
training?
wait, so I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Only the committee has to take it, not the board members?
Correct, because if the committee is comprised of board members and committee members, right?
Well, I don't
So-
know yet, but
Well, assuming that it is, if there aren't any active board members who are part of that planning committee, then the entire board would also have to take that planning 101 training so that the board can be eligible to vote on planning and land use matters. But
Okay.
if there are active members on that committee, they'll take that training because they'll be on the committee and they'll offer that recommendation. The committee will offer a recommendation to the board. So then the board will be voting on recommendations from the committee.
How long is the training?
it's 45 minutes. And I'm going to suggest, as the chair, that everybody does it. We'll see how that works. I got to see what it is. I'm not signed up to be able to take it yet.
Yes.
And so I don't think my email address is working yet. So how, should I just give my personal email address?
Well, come to me so you can protect your personal address, and I'll try to jump on the admin and find
Okay,
out.
so hopefully by tomorrow it might be working, and if anybody on the board wants to be on there can only be 4, and we'll see how that goes. Okay? That's all for now.
Jen, you're up with outreach.
That's a thing that exists in the world, is the outreach committee. It is a committee of one. So, yeah, I would love to have board members and/or community members. I really just want to send out the information that we all need to get to the cool things like toy drives and trunk or treats.
This is an area, and I'm thrilled that Jen is back. Jen does this in her private life. So we should be more effective. This has been a weak spot on the neighborhood council. I'm not sure how much of it was a result of COVID, how much of it was just a bad generation. We really need to get a ton of outreach. There should be people that want to replace every single one of these board members. So what we're going to be doing for the next 15, 18 months is finding stakeholders who would like to be on this board so we could potentially replace ourselves. We need to get the reputation of the neighborhood council more prominently in the community. We need to do more stuff to warrant that. And I think one of the ways that we talked about doing this is to reach out and stealing the page from most of the popular religious doctrines across the world. We're going to get the kids while they're young and keep them for their lives. So we want to go to the schools. All the parents at schools are self-selecting from being active, paying attention, and we could actually tap into that population of people. We know that when your kids graduate from elementary school, and we have Carpenter Avenue School right here, when you get to middle school, they don't want the parents to participate very much. So we have very needy groups that we could actually slide into the neighborhood council. We have Campbell Hall, we have Harvard Westlake, we have Bridges, we have Oakwood, we have North Hollywood High, we have Walter Reed, Carpenter Avenue School. We have a ton of schools where we could actually tap into those communities, and that would help with all of these things that we're doing. And that information flow can go both ways. So there will be a lot of activity with outreach, and probably one of the best ways to do that is to get a bunch of kids from those schools. So you will soon see Jen and her Children's Crusade running throughout the city, so we'll do that. Public safety, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm sure public safety is on top of mind for a lot of people here. Crime's up. I was chatting with our Sean Smith, our senior lead officer for the area last week. And, there's going to be a whole bunch of retirements down the pike. And it's going to affect, staffing levels, especially for Studio City. Right now, we only have one squad car that services the city, Studio City. So public safety is going to be something that we need to really focus on. I just started the committee going before the kerfuffle happened, so now hopefully Patty and Jerry will stick with my committee. Anyone else who's interested, please let me know. It looks like our next meeting, I was going to have it for November, but it's unfortunately on Thanksgiving Day, so we'll probably have to push it into early December sometime. So anyway, FYI, if you want to join the committee, reach out and let me know.
So on the
not
calendar,
next
it's,
Thursday?
on the calendar it's listed as the 26th of October, so that should be then updated if we're not having it.
Yeah, we're not going to have it on the 26th. Who's ever in charge of the calendar?
That would be me.
Jen, if you don't mind deleting that for the 26th.
That I can do.
Or Chip, thank you.
Sustainability, Adele.
Yeah, well, I have to regroup our committee, see who's left to serve on it. I had about 9 members, and I'll be in touch with them this week. Our next meeting is Monday, the 13th of November, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we've got a bunch of things we're working on. We're working on the River Greenway project, which Chip and I have been working on from, Coldwater to beyond Colfax?
Well, at this point, they've given us an ROE, which is a right of entry. So that will let us hold events at our discretion on the south side of the river from Whitsett to Laurel. So we'll start there. We were straightening out some of the insurance stuff. So I don't know, Kim, if that's you, or Lorenzo, if I go for you, to find out what we need to do in terms of insurance. So this was a CD4 issue, I'll have to get back, and CD4 is asking me who the insurance is for the neighborhood council.
The city.
I'm thinking mom and dad, you're right, we should be able to figure this out.
Lloyd's of London.
Yeah,
The planning division will be able to provide that. Oh,
okay. But that is another one of the Children's Crusade elements.
Yep.
And that section of the river is under the city's jurisdiction.
Yes.
So, but we have a bigger vision for the whole, we have quite a lot of the river from Whitsett to beyond Colfax to like
Lancashire.
Lancashire, all the way to Lancashire.
Fulton to Lancashire.
And
Bolton to Lancashire.
And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of construction going on there that we could take advantage of, have those people build or make more green area along the river. We're also actively trying to we want to educate the neighborhood about the dangers of artificial turf and reworking the streetscape plan along Ventura Boulevard, which calls for these horrible stash trees and palm trees, every other tree, which is, it's an ancient streetscape plan that we'd like to revisit. And, also trying to save mature trees in Studio City. And I think that sustainability really needs to work with land use closely because our issues intersect. And it's really important to do that. So I'll be talking to you. And that's about it.
Barry, back to you in transportation.
We could use some more members. We lost a couple, and any board member who's interested or stakeholder here tonight, let myself or Chip know. And our next meeting is Wednesday, November 1st at 7:30. So even if you're not sure you want to join, you can come to the meeting and see at that time if you're interested. So it's in the Scnc office on the lot here, 7:30 Wednesday, November 1st.
Lisa?
I want to suggest that we get some social media out or something on the e-blast, if you can get to that, and send out the list and the emails for everybody, because there's, people, I mean, all of you might want to be on the committees, but I don't think it's
No,
enough.
we need to do that. I mean, this, again, is the
And we
first
need it.
meeting, so
We
we're,
wanna
we're
have
trying
them-
to get this up. I mean, what I'm gonna do tomorrow is I'm asking all the board members just to check your neighborhood council email, because the admin page tells me that everyone's up and running. I don't believe it. Google's lying to me. So we'll straighten that out, so we'll see, and we'll get this up as fast as we possibly can. But in the meantime, the transportation carriers, Barry's your guy. And Ainsley, you're up, no more than 30 minutes, you have your first couple slides on the youth. But, I mean, you're gonna be the, sort of the agent that goes out and helps us actually get to all the schools. And I think it's something that what we might do as well is actually start visiting the schools and explain what the neighborhood council does and solicit collaboration that way. That's it on committees.
Well, wait a
And-
second.
Oh, your airport committee.
Yeah, so I'm the chair of the ad hoc.
This just in.
Well, it's not that new, it has existed before, but Burbank Airport Flight Paths, Noise and Pollution. So if anyone's interested in that, I'm going to set a date for that.
We might want to rebrand that, we'll get back to it.
Was that already voted on, if that's already existing?
We,
Yeah,
Scott
yeah.
opened this up in the August or July.
Yeah.
So that committee does.
It's not on the website.
That's all we have for committees. I think we are stuck with good of the order. Any brief comments from board members on anything that we have left behind in this early moment of our tenure?
I wanted to make sure too that I returned strictly to see this board get up and running again, and to meet quorum, but I was one who did not want to return. I don't want to sour things. It's been such a wonderful experience, but so that we really do, we need people who are interested in being involved, and I know that that is a thrust of what we were really going to try to accomplish is we're short people for the committees, for everything. Really, so if all of you who are here can tell people about it, it's great people who participate, and it's, as I said, it's a wonderful experience. It's wonderful to get involved. But it's a lot of work too. So, but I wanted to make the announcement because the treasurer position will be open at some point. People might want to, if you're interested, might want to take that financial training. Is there anything else? That's about it. I'm gonna stick around and hang in until we've got some more bodies, but that's where we are. Thank you.
Anybody else? 9:05, Terrence, we are done.